always try to help.
It could only be her.
They
Should
always
the European Union still believe that the United States is a reliable trade partner?
Well, I'm here exactly to work for make the West stronger. For I believe in the West unity, and I think simply we have to talk.
She
And
believes
find
in the
ourselves.
president. She believes in the president.
Also, and find ourselves in the best middle way to grow together. That's why I'm here. So, if I wouldn't think it's a reliable partner, I wouldn't be here.
We have a very good relationship together, and as countries, we have a very good relationship.
To follow up, Mr. President, what if there is not a trade deal with the EU by the time of the end of your 90-day pause on reciprocal
Oh, there'll be a
tariffs?
trade deal, 100%. Oh, well, you think there won't be? Of course there'll be a trade deal, very much. They want to make one very, very much, and we're going to make a trade deal. I fully expect it, but it'll be a fair deal.
Are they on your priority list?
Everybody's on my priority list.
Mr. President, do you plan to meet with the President at EU?
Say it.
Do you plan to meet with the
Wait,
President?
one at a time, please.
Do you plan-
No, first, no. You, and then we'll.
Do you plan to meet with the President of the EU, Ursula von der Leyen? Do you plan to have other meetings with EU leaders as well?
Many. We had a meeting yesterday with Japan. As you know, we've had numerous talks, very, very, at the highest level, frankly, with other countries. Yeah, we're doing very well, and we're moving along on trade very well. The United States was ripped off and taken advantage of by every country in the world, practically. I mean, I have to say practically, but just about everyone. That's not going to happen anymore, but we're going to make fair deals.
Mr. President, given talks with Japan and Italy this week, do you expect to announce an initial trade deal with any of these countries by next
At a
week?
certain point, yeah, we're in no rush. We're in no rush. You have to understand, we're getting right now 25% on cars, 25% on steel, 25% on aluminum. We're getting a 10% baseline. We took that down just because it was, the appropriate thing to do until we decide what the number will be. And we're, taking in a lot of money, which we've never done before, frankly. With Biden, we were losing a fortune on trade. But we're moving along very nicely, and we're going to end up with a baseline of a substantial number, which we never got anything. The United States never got anything until I came along, and then I put very substantial tariffs on China, if you remember. And we took in hundreds of billions of dollars, but then we had a rigged election, and it was just one of those little things, and it got away from us because Biden allowed every country in the world to rip off the United States, and I'm here to save our country.
Mr. President, on China, Mr. President, you said you have
Yeah,
China.
please.
You have said in the past that you aren't worried about allies growing closer to China as a result of your tariffs. And this week we saw Chinese President Xi Jinping visit with 3 of our allies. Should you be worried that
No.
they're growing closer?
No.
Mr. President, will you pick up the phone?
Nobody can compete with us. Nobody.
You said there was a relationship with President Xi. Why not pick up the phone and call him and make a deal?
Oh, we're going to make a deal. We'll have a deal. I think we have a.
Mr. President?
I think we're going to make a very good deal with China.
Do you plan to reach out to him and call him?
I think that you will see we'll make a very good deal with China.
Mr. President Trump, Mr. President,
Prime
you told
Minister
me regarding Marine One a couple
How
months ago, I like her very much regarding Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni. Will she be the one to mediate your relationship with Europe, do you think?
Well, I do like her very much. I think she's a great prime minister. I think she's doing a fantastic job in Italy. We were very proud of her. I knew her right from the beginning. I knew her as a very early prime minister, and I knew she had great talent. She's one of the real leaders of the world, and I'm very proud to be with her.
Will she be the
I
first
can't do better than that, right?
Yes, that's what I Okay, we can close the press conference.
We should end the press conference. Yeah, please, go ahead.
Prime Minister, how quickly can you raise your defense spending?
Oh, well, Italy is the summit of the nation announced that it raised 2%, which as was requested.
It'll go up. Yeah.
Yes,
It'll go.
and then Europe.
Is it enough,
As
Mr.
you know,
President?
and
It's
then
never enough.
Europe, as
It's
you know,
never.
Europe, as you know, is committed to do more. Is working on tools to allow help the member states in increasing the defense spending, and we are convinced that everyone has to do more.
Prime Minister, are you ready retaliatory tariffs that the European Commission passed and then suspended, are they still on the table if you cannot make a deal with President Trump?
I'm sure we can make a deal, and I'm here to help on that. I cannot deal in the name of the European Union. My goal would be invite President Trump to pay an official visit to Italy and understand if there's a possibility when he comes to organize also such a meeting with Europe. I think the best way is that we simply speak frankly about the needs that every one of us has and find ourselves in the middle. That's useful for all. I really, somebody calls me such a Western nationalism. I don't know if it is the right word, but I'm sure that to be stronger. And I have to find a way. I'm here to find the best way to make us both stronger on the two shores of the Atlantic.
We're gonna have very little problem making a deal with Europe or anybody else, because we have something that everybody wants. You know what that means, right? We have something that everybody wants. We're gonna have very little problem. So we'll see you in a couple of minutes. We'll be right there in the Oval Office. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Press. Thank you, Press. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Let's move. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Prime Minister, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Very much.
Yeah, that's right there. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you, Press. Keep going. This way. Keep going. Yeah, that way. Thank you. Thank you. That way. Thanks, everyone. Keep going.
That way, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll talk about it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Press.
Thank you.
Get them over there.
Here, keep going.